Allison, thanks so much. In yesterday's severe weather in Tooele, you may remember there were some pretty big hailstones that came down. In fact, some gardens got hit pretty hard.
Fox 13 News reporter Mythili Gooby shows us how one Tooele woman is trying to recover after losing most of her produce.
I love my garden here. It's just a piece of peace in your backyard.
For Julia Howard, this garden is like her child.
We turned our front yard into a big garden. We love tomatoes, squash, pumpkins in the fall. In the back, we like to have strawberries, corn, green beans, you know, a variety of everything.
Tooele had a severe thunderstorm that brought damaging wind and large hail, the size of pennies to ping pong balls to Julia's home.
We ran out with buckets or towels to try and get something covered. By the time we grabbed stuff to go outside, twigs with no leaves was most of my tomatoes and my plants.
Destroying most of what was in her garden.
I'm going to have to replant most of the fall items I planted a few weeks ago, like my pumpkins and my watermelon. My grapevines are completely devastated. They were at their prime, and now we might not get any grapes this year.
And leaving her crushed.
It was hard because every day you're out there pruning, getting the bugs off, fertilizing them, like weeding, and that just takes hours and hours of your life every day. And then to have it just be gone, it's months of your life's work. It's really hard to handle.
Julia posted about the hail in her garden in a Facebook group a few minutes after the storm came through.
Most people got to see that and be like, oh, this is coming like in a minute. I better cover my plants. So a lot of people were grateful to have that warning.
I spoke to a USU Extension horticulturalist who says if there is a storm coming through your garden, the best thing that you can do is use a tarp to cover your crops to protect them. He says secure the tarp well, that way the wind doesn't blow it away. But he says if this has happened in your garden, all hope is not lost.
We have until early October before our average first frost hits. And so I'm pretty confident in vegetable gardens. In general, things will recover. It may have destroyed some fruit, but be patient and it should grow back.
He recommends keeping an eye on your plants that were impacted.
The number one thing with gardening is that there's always something new that's going to take your crops out. And you'll have the most beautiful garden, and then things like windstorms and hailstorms come in, and you just have to roll with that damage.
But for people like Julia, she says this hail won't rain on her love for her garden.
You just got to have hope. You just got to keep caring for them and nurse them back to health like you would a loved one.
In Tooele, I am Mythili Gooby, Fox 13 News, Utah.